Be sure to watch to the end of this video so that you have no regrets and you make none of the mistakes that I made during my preparation for the Mcat, first and second one. Hi, my name is Supriya, and I've recently taken the Mcat for the second time, and I've applied to medical school this year, so fingers crossed that I get in. I will be sharing my scores with you on the 20th of July, so be sure to like and subscribe if you want to stick around and see if I get in. I sure hope I do. Okay. Alright, so the first thing you need to know is that there are 4 parts of this test compared to any other normal test that you would take. The first part, along with all your normal tests, is just content. Do you know the material? Do you not know the material? The second part is how they ask the questions. Normally, all of your questions are going to be discrete on tests, my biochem test, biology, chemistry. Those are all discrete questions. They are not from a passage where you have to read kind of like a research article and you have to kind of pick the information out and answer the question. The third part of this test is stamina. There are literally 6 hours and 15 minutes where you're sitting there specifically studying. The whole day it's gonna be a whole day, an 8-hour day, going to the test center. It's a big deal. It's nothing like we've ever had before, and that's the third part of this test. The fourth part of this test is timing. You get 95 minutes on average for 59 questions. Because of the different way that they ask the questions, it's not gonna be that easy. You could basically spend the whole 60 minutes on 20 questions if you wanted, but you have to know when to move on, when to flag a question and just move on. Okay, here's another huge mistake I made. Please take break days and do not feel guilty about taking those break days. If you just waste all your time feeling guilty, you won't actually get any rest. It's really important to reset. I did that for the second Mcat that I took, and it made a world of difference. A freaking world of difference, I swear. All right, quick bonus thing that especially applied to me. Everything will take you longer than you think it will. Every single thing, okay? Because it's a lot, right? It's a lot of content. It's a lot of understanding how they ask questions. It's a lot of understanding how to answer those questions and how it works in your brain. So just a lot more time than you think you will. All right, another mistake, too much Reddit. Reddit it's a great resource for information for when you actually have a question on a specific thing that AAMC gives you, but there are way too many cooks in that kitchen. Way too many. You don't want to be notified every single time they post something. It'll just make you scared, or it'll make you switch your priorities, because you get a notification for somebody's post like every single day, at least for me. There's a ton of opinions on Reddit, and there's a ton of comparing, and you just don't need any of that. All right, big regret, do not spend your time on your stronger sections. I fooled myself into thinking that my CP was fine. You can see what I got. I don't want to talk about it, but I really did. I never scored that low on any practice test. I just prayed that I wouldn't score lower than what I'd been scoring on practice tests. But any test that you take towards the end, you have a 2-point buffer. Within each score, you have a 2-point buffer of what you'll really get on your real test. Like for a majority, like 95% of people, it's gonna be within 2 points of your average FL. So I scored 2 points lower than my lowest CP. And that didn't work. So here's the thing, I fooled myself into studying cars and psychology because I kept telling myself, oh, the more I study this, the more I have a chance of raising my overall score, the more I have a chance of getting the 504 that I need for my program. Along with that, I kept saying, oh, there's more I can learn. There's always gonna be more that you can know in any certain subject, but you have to just brave it and just hit the weak subject. My weakest subject was physics. I didn't remember any of it. It felt complicated to me. I felt very overwhelmed. So I memorized a bunch of equations and I kept writing them down, so then I had that all memorized, and I never really did too many practice problems. Basically, don't be me. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you've got a score, or you've got a minimum score in one subject and you'll excel at another one because you know you can excel at it. This last time, I knew that if I worked on cars, I could get it all the way up. But I very much knew my worst scores were in both of the science subjects, so I hardcore worked. All right, so one mistake that I made was taking scores too seriously in the beginning. They don't reflect what you're actually gonna get on your test, especially if they're third-party exams like Next Step, which is called Blueprint now, Kaplan, Princeton. The value in those tests that you take are in the content and experiencing how the AAMC asks those types of questions. Just don't take your scores too seriously in the beginning. And if you want a video to all of the free Mcat practice tests links, I'll link a video to the side where I put all of the free ones. I think there are like 6. Here's a big mistake that I did make. The general rule for your AAMC full length in the last month of your testing is if you're scoring around 5 points less than your goal score, you should just move your test date. I was scoring consistently 3 points below my goal score, and although the last test a couple days before my actual test was 2 points higher, it's just not enough. You want to be consistently scoring your goal score like 2 weeks out. You really don't want to retake this test if you can help it. Alright, so one big mistake that I made was replicating what everyone else did for their test, for their Mcat test. If you go on Reddit, you're going to get like a dozen different study plans. And whether it's macro in your overall study schedule or micro in how you approach a CP or a CARS passage, you really don't want to change your study plan based on what other people are doing. It's okay to take in different strategies, but the person that you should be listening to most is absolutely by far yourself and how you learn and how you study and how you take in material. If it takes someone else 2 months to do something, it doesn't mean that it will only take you 2 months to do that same thing. And you might be faster than that person. It's just your diligence, your persistence. This is what matters. So you have to stick, whatever study schedule you make, just please stick to it. I kept switching it because I was like, no, this is better. This makes more sense. But if you keep doing that, you're never going to consistently get through what you want to get through. Here's another just fun fact, I guess. At the end of the day, it's about learning and applying the content. There's no gimmick or secret tactic or secret strategy that will work. Those will only help you. At the end of the day, you just need to get down and learn it. So it really is advisable for you to just follow your own instincts on certain study schedules, plan it, stick to it, keep going. Alright, so in my notes I have written that there is no best Anki deck, there is no best full length, there is no best practice test out there. There is just the content and you. You pick one and you just go through all of it. Do not switch things up just to switch things up. If it's really not working for you, I'd say give it 2 weeks, honestly. That's what I have written down here. And I wrote this right after I took my Mcat, so yeah. Another thing that I did for my first Mcat, which I extremely regret, was I took a practice test 3 days before my test, and then I studied on the day before my test. In the evening, I went to the library and I studied because I was like, I don't know enough. I need to go and I need to study. Those couple hours are only going to stress you out. It's not going to be good at all. This last time, I felt so much better coming out of my Mcat test, and I took the entire, I studied till 12, but then I took a nap, and then I watched anime, and it was great. It was a great, I watched Captain Marvel, that's what I did. I watched Captain Marvel, and I ate what I wanted to eat, and it was honestly glorious. It was great. So, please, 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 do not study the day before your test. If you can help it, just don't study the whole day. I felt terrible not studying, so I did study until 12. But honestly, I felt really great for my test day. So just don't study past then. Also, here's a quick tip. If you're ever feeling squeamish about just flagging it and moving on and being like, oh, I don't totally understand the question, they do have experimental questions in every single test. It's in their AAMC little booklet that they give you in the beginning of what to know about the Mcat. It tells you that they have experimental questions. So not every question is going to count. So you really need to focus on timing and just moving on. When you hit your mark, you need to just move on. All right, so the last thing I want to say is just utilize good resources and focus on completing those. Whatever you pick to do. If you want to do Kaplan books, that's fine. I found out about this self-prep study thing, which was pretty awesome actually for content review, and that's what I used for my chemistry and physics content review the second time around. I can link to a video on the best free resources. Alright, if you made it this far, I sincerely wish you good luck. This video was kind of a ramble on my end. It's gonna take a lot to edit, but I really wish you good luck, and subscribe if you want. Okay, bye!